So thank you very, very much, Mohit, once again. Right. So, and guys, so this is the first episode of our Salesforce Saturdays from our Exile family. So this is something that we want to continue going further. We want to bring more um, right industry professionals who can help us in so taking our career to the next level. So and coming to right, so Mohit's background, he is having almost a decade of experience working into the Salesforce ecosystem. And the best thing is he has built a community of 35,000 people, right? Including his LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And at the same time, he is helping many people to crack interviews within the Salesforce ecosystem. So he's more popular as, the Salesforce interview guy, right? So, and without further ado, so I would like to invite Mohit to take the stage and take it forward.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ishwar. So, yes, uh, I have around 10 years of experience in Salesforce, and I have a very small YouTube channel where I talk about interview preparation. And many of these things I've already talked on my channel, but mostly in this scattered manner, like one tip in a short video, one tip in a long video. But this is going to be first of such session where I have included almost everything in terms of interview preparation and in terms of how you should take the interview. It's a journey. I always say that the art of cracking interview is different than knowing something in Salesforce. So we will deep diving into this skill, and this definitely can be learned, and that's what I teach as well through my YouTube channel and through various platform. And the intention from this video is to make you comfortable with the process of interview and how you should prepare the technical things and all. Okay, so I'll not waste much of the time on my introduction, and let's jump onto the screen. I'll be sharing. I am not much of the PPT guy, but then I have created a small PPT to make it relevant. Otherwise, I go off limit sometimes, and then some other topics, comes in the picture. So let me share my screen, and let me try to do it via screen. Okay, and meanwhile you can keep on posting your questions on the chat. Whenever we can, we'll be taking them in between, but mostly at the end of the session. So let me play it and let me know when you are able to see it. Okay, so this is my channel name, Salesforce and Interview, and in this session we'll be talking about art of cracking Salesforce interviews. Okay, many of us are giving interviews, and let's begin with the typical rounds in an interview. This keeps on varying, but then mostly it start with a simple formal HR screening round where they'll be asking your total experience, expectation, and areas just to identify you are a good fit for that job description or not. And then they goes into second or mostly is about technical discussions. There could be multiple technical discussions as well, depending on the company to company. But most of the time it will be one technical round. And earlier it was one technical round and one managerial round. Now from last couple of years, there is an additional round, techno managerial round. We have seen a lot in most of the companies they take. It is more of a technical, less of a managerial, but then combination of both. So technical round, techno managerial round, and there'll be one managerial round, which will completely be managerial round. And last but not necessarily, there'll be a salary negotiation round, or you can say they will just convey their part that they can offer you this much of LPA, whether you agree or not. So that is much of the salary negotiation. We'll be talking about this a lot in detail, but that is the typical interview setup. I'm excluding the interviews of big tech giants like Google and Amazon because they have additional rounds for the system design, low level design, high level design, DSA round. But we can briefly talk about them as well by the end of the session. So that's how a typical interview is structured in terms of the whole different rounds we have. In inside each interview, there'll be a typical interview structure where interviewer will most of these interview begin like this, that interviewer will give give their introduction, and then they will ask you to introduce yourself. Okay, and then followed by a technical discussion where they'll be asking a couple of technical questions from different Salesforce aspects and topics and all. Additionally, they can ask you to write some code in order to check if you are comfortable in writing code or not. And at the end, they'll be saying that, okay, do you have any additional feedback or questions? And then he'll be saying he's done with the interview, or she will be doing that. Okay, so this is a typical structure. Why I am telling you is that because most of the interview follows that. So it is easy to prepare based on certain structure and follow those structure and be comfortable with it. Okay, but before we give the interview, there are some interview rituals I want to do even before the interview. Okay, so normally you get a job description for a particular job. Okay, I want every one of you to go through the job description very well, because job descriptions are the kind of mirror where you can see if you are the right candidate or not. First, you need to understand in your mind that if you are a good fit for that role or not. So let's say if I see that in the job description, they have written like they need somebody with hands-on experience in integration and complete CI/CD DevOps process, complete process of, let's say, taking data backups and all. And if I have not done those things in my any of the project, then I know very well that I might not be a very good fit for the candidate. So what I'm trying to say here is that job description basically tells you that whether you'll be a good fit or not. And sometimes based on job description, you need to, kind of change your strategy as well. So let's say if on the job description, you're seeing that they have a lot of focus on Lightning Web Components, or they are focusing a lot on CI/CD, then you can try to make those topics as a strong topic, or revise all such thing to make sure that you are fitting very well in the job description. Most of the time I see that candidates are making mistakes that they do not even go through job description, or just go through on a very high level but do not pay attention to it. And they sometimes do feel negative about it when they actually go for the interview, because they do not expect such kind of questions, but they will get that. So sometimes they will specifically mention that they are looking for field service lightning consultant, or they are looking for people who have experience in CPQ. Okay, so if you better go through job description and prepare based on job description, you will give yourself a better chance than not going through it. Okay, so this is one of the first before interview ritual I want all of you to do. I know most of you are already doing it, but still those who are not, make sure that you go through job description very well and prepare based on that. Now, again, there will be many things which are there in job description, but you might not have worked on those things, and it is completely okay. Okay. Expectation is not that you should know everything. Expectation is that out of, let's say, 10 things given in the job description, you are fit well, you are a good fit in most of such things. Okay. It's not like you should know everything. If you know everything, that is obviously a best case scenario. But even if you don't know something, let's say you do not know FSL. Okay, but in situation like this, even if you just go through the basic data model of FSL and convey that you're comfortable with the basic structure of data model of field service lightning, and you will be comfortable in learning it, that also gives you a conditional advantage over other candidate who say that they don't know FSL at all. Okay, so I want you to take the advantage of this thing and prepare yourself better by going through job description well. Okay. Now, many of us do not go through company at all. Okay, and here we need to know that the company we are giving interview for is doing what. Okay, if it is a service based organization or if it is a product based organization, especially in the product based organization, it is very important for you to do your homework. It is very important that you go through the company profile and check what company is actually doing. So let's say if it is a pharma company and you have already worked in, let's say, one of the project which was related to pharma, then you can take advantage of that fact. Or let's say you are going for an interview for a banking company, and let's say in past you have worked a POC or a simple POC on, let's say, banking system, or let's say you have done your project on banking system, you are familiar with the terminology of banking ecosystem. Okay, you can take the advantage of that, but only if you know about that thing. Okay, few companies are very visible that, like, let's say if you're giving interview for IDFC Bank, you know that this is banking, but sometimes you'll not be aware about the MNCs which are outside of India, and if you do not go through their website, or might not be able to extract the exact information which you are looking for. So it is a good practice to go through the company profile and check what are the major things, or if you can specifically get to know why they are using Salesforce, then that will be a huge advantage. Okay, most of the time how I do is that I try to find the relevant people on LinkedIn and then try to talk to them if they are available for call. Again, do not expect that they'll be free and the moment you ping them, they'll reply you back and then you will schedule a call with them. That's not how it works, but you will have to try. You will have to approach them. You will fail, but it's okay. So try to get to know about company better. Now, if the company is a service-based organization, like let's say our generic companies, Teachers, Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, Capgemini, then you know that they are service-based organization. Most of the time, they will be doing the generic hiring. Most of the time, I mean, sometimes they do hire for a project specific roles, but you will not get to know about it. So you cannot go with that approach, like getting to know what they are working on, because they are consulting services and they will be asking you to work on different projects. So in that case, you at least know that they are service-based organization and they are looking for a large skill set. The difference between service-based and product-based companies is that product-based companies are looking for a specific skill set which they need you for. So let's say if they are working on Sales Cloud and CPQ, they are interested in people who know Sales Cloud and CPQ. They are not interested in, or if anybody has a lot of experience in Community Cloud, but they are not using Community Cloud, they'll not be very much concerned about that fact. But service-based organization need large skill set, because so that they can deploy you on different projects without thinking. More of this skills better for them. So they need people who are all-rounder. They need people who knows different clouds. They need people who knows the different artifacts of a project. They need people who are good in deployment. They need people who are good in testing. They need people who are all-rounders. So based on which type of company you are giving interview, you have to change your approach as well. Okay, going through company profile is obviously a better way. Okay, most of the time you will not get to know about the interviewer, because it will be a generic invite. But if you get to know about the interviewer, or if let's say interviewer is already tagged in the interview, or if you get to know the mail ID or something, if you can, this is not a mandatory step, but if you can, or if you have an opportunity to know the interviewer, then try to know about him as well. Sometimes it does help, like if you know that, okay, if I get to know about the interviewer through, let's say, the invite, and I checked his LinkedIn, he is more into the Sales Cloud, or he is more of an integration expert, or he is more into the flow automation, then I can at least prepare myself better for his strong areas. Okay, because if I know that he is very good in integration, and if my integration is weak, then he can grill me on those topics as well. So I need to be better prepared for the topics which he is good at. But again, this is not a mandatory thing. Most of the time you will not get to know about it, and you will have to go with your strong skill set rather than focusing more on his strong skill set. But given the fact that if you know him, then you can go through that. Okay, interviewer likes the candidate who are well prepared, who have gone through the JD a lot, and you can mention it even in the interview that, okay, you have gone through the JD and you understand that this company requires person with CPQ experience, and what you can bring on the table because you have already worked on CPQ. So even if you mention the fact that you have gone through JD, you have gone through the company profile, people, interviewer mostly like these kind of things, that you are well prepared for that particular role. You are taking it seriously. Many times in candidate comes in an interview unprepared, and then they just take it, go with the flow approach. See, in it is okay if you are an experienced person, go with the flow approach will be also okay for you. But those who are new or have less experience, go with the flow approach, most of the time will backfire. Prepare well. Okay, don't go with the flow. For experienced people, I understand go with the flow is okay. but for the new people, I will not recommend that. Okay. Okay. As I said, interview will start with the introduction. First, he will give his introduction, or she'll give you her introduction, and then it will be on your introduction. Now, your introduction is the major part of your interview, because this is the time where you will get uninterrupted 3-4 minutes to make an impression. Okay. Make sure that you keep it very brief and precise, but take maximum advantage of each and every second. Why I'm saying is that because many candidates make this mistake. They'll start their introduction with irrelevant things, and then they waste couple of minutes, like 2-3 minutes on irrelevant thing. And after 3 minutes, interviewer will lose interest in your introduction, because you have already wasted 3-4 minutes without giving any meaningful information. Okay. So make sure you make it very precise and brief, and talk about the technical things, your current project, your past project, the things you like in Salesforce, your total experience in Salesforce, what interests you most, what kind of topics or what kind of areas in Salesforce domain you like most. Basically, this is to determine, and it will work most of the time, that whatever you say in your introduction, you will get questions from those topic initially. Okay. So make sure that you put forward all such topics on which you are good at, or on which you have maximum chances of scoring well. Okay. Typically, when somebody asks me those things or introduce myself, I kind of try to take the topics which I'm good at. Now, what topic I am good at did also depends on the factor that on which project I am currently working. So let's say I have worked on integration, but that integration work was done, let's say 1 year ago. From last 1 year, I'm not doing any integration. So even if I have worked on integration, I might be bit rusty on the integration. Whereas let's say from last 6 months, I am working on flows a lot. So I have all those things running on my mind, because on the day-to-day job, I am working on flows a lot. So I'll be more spontaneous on flows. Okay. So also consider that fact, that which things are very spontaneous on your mind, and all the cross questions you'll be able to answer. And then we kind of try to put forward such topic, because we hope that interviewer will pick those topics and will ask cross questions from it. Now, it is not necessary that this will work every time. Few interviewers will always come with their own agenda. Few interviewers will always come with their own set of questions, and whatever you say, that is not going to matter. But we have to take the leap of faith, and we have to put our best case forward. So that is why prepare your introduction very well. Okay. Now, introduction also depends on which round we are giving. Okay. I will not recommend giving same introduction for all rounds, like for technical, for techno managerial, and for managerial. The reason is because technical interviewer is looking for different thing than the techno managerial person, than the managerial person. So we have to dynamically define what we are going to say in which type of interview. Okay, if it is technical interview, I'll be talking in terms of technical topics. I'll be talking in terms of technical things. Whereas if it is a techno managerial round, I will make it still technical, but I will also put couple of project related specific things, how project work, how agile work, how you manage whole project. Okay, so it will be the combination of technical plus managerial thing, the way we will give our introduction, not only focusing on technical part, but also how are we managing the project. And then when it comes to the managerial round, we will keep technical very brief, focus more on the managerial part, and how the delivery works. So my suggestion here is that go for the different introduction for different types of round. Sometimes when HR asks for the introduction, many candidates just keep on talking about the technical things. She does not understand a lot of those technical things. She get the script written in front of her screen, like candidate should be good in Apex programming. So she will ask, do you know Apex programming? And then the next line she will ask, do you know Apex? So she does not even understand the difference between Apex and Apex programming, because she is reading from the script. There is no point of you telling him the life cycle. There is no point of you telling him the best practice, because they get the script. So you know who you are talking to, and based on that, you'll have to dynamically determine what you are going to say. Okay. But for technical round, for techno managerial, and for managerial round, I prefer to have different introduction, because that's how uh, I like to say those things. Okay. All right. So how you should plan your technical round, because this is the most crucial round. Most of the failures happens in technical round, because and once you get the technical round, you can say that 50% of the battle is won, because techno managerial and managerial combined is the 50%, and technical is combined 50% in terms of complexity, in terms of chances of rejection. Okay. So our main focus should be on the technical round first. And once we clear that, then we will talk about the techno managerial round. Okay. Many candidates, when they hear about the technical round, their mind is filled with anxiety. What if they give me something to write? What if I'm not able to write a trigger? Or what if I'm not able to write the batch epics? Or now they have started asking LWC. Do I need to learn all the LWC code? Do I need to mug up all the syntax of LWC? Okay, take it easy. Okay, first, prepare your introduction very well, which focuses on the technical aspects of your skill set. Okay, everybody has certain good factors technically, certain bad factors. So, for example, let's say you are somebody who is good in LWC, who is good in Apex, who is good in asynchronous Apex, but not so good in batch Apex. Okay, so, because I'm not saying that you are not good in batch epics because you do not know this. It could be because you did not get to work on so many batch epic scenario. That could be simple, right? So prepare your introduction in such a way that it highlights your skill set, your good things. Okay. And based on that, you will form an introduction. See, most of the time in an interview, interviewer makes up their mind in the starting 10 to 15 minutes, and then rest of the 15 or remaining minutes, they just try to prove the point that they were right, they had right opinion about you in the beginning. Okay, so once they form up their mind that you are a good candidate, things will start becoming easy for you. They will give you a kind of questions which you'll be able to answer. Trust me, this works a lot. And but if they have formed an opinion that you are not a good candidate, then most of the time they will try to just prove the point that you were not good. He was right about you in the beginning that you were not good. So they may come up with the complex scenario and try to. I'm not saying that every interviewer is same, but then many of them make the opinion in the beginning. Although this is not a good practice, interviewer should give a fair chance to every candidate till the end, and based on various different topics he's supposed to ask. But that's the reality, that they make up their mind in the very beginning, in the 15 minutes, and then rest of the time is just. That is why you will see that many times your interview is done in just 15-20 minutes as well, because they have already formed an opinion, and they are very rigid about it, that they are right on it. Okay, so make sure that you start it very well, because first impression is something which will determine the next course of action in your interview. So try to highlight the topics which you are good at. If you are lucky, then you will get cross questions on those topics, and your interview will begin in a positive note. Okay, whether you'll be able to write trigger or not, that will be the secondary thing, but it will at least start in a positive note, and then it will be up to you to capitalize that good start. Okay, if openers have performed well in the power play in the first six over, that does not mean that you will score 200 plus, right? Your middle order has to perform well as well, but at least it is a good beginning. It will lay down a good foundation for the middle order. Now in the middle order, there'll be a technical discussion. Okay, based on what you have said in the introduction plus what interviewer has to see. It is not only about what you said in the introduction, because they also need to judge you on certain parameters. As an interviewer, I also get the list of certain topics, or I at least know the job description, that we are looking for a candidate, let's say, who is good in LWC and Aura, and should have a good hands-on in the CI/CD. Okay, so I have got this feeding from the backend that I have to check the candidate on LWC or a component, and at least Git deployment or CI/CD deployment. So I will definitely ask questions on these topics, no matter if you mention them on your introduction or not, right? So there are topics which interviewer will get from the backend as well, based on the job description, based on the availability of that role, based on why they opened that role, right? So it's combination of both of the things. First, he will try to see whatever you are saying you are good at, you are good at or not. Okay, first impression, first thing will be to check that thing, and then they will come to the topics which they need from you. If you have already mentioned those topic, that is a win-win scenario. But if you have not mentioned those topic in your introduction, but they have to check those topic, so they will definitely ask those topics. And if you don't know them, then that could be a problem, because there are two types of topic. One is kind of must to know topic, and then secondary could be other topics, which even if you are not able to answer, then they'll be okay. So must to know topics are the topics. For such topics, interviewer cannot take no, because if you don't know such topics, then there is no point of taking your interview further. The example of such topics are record sharing and security. If you are not fundamentally good in record sharing and security, then that gives an impression that your fundamentals are really weak. Then no matter how good you are in the LWC, if your fundamentals of record sharing and security are weak, then you will always make shitty solutions, because your basics are not strong. If your fundamentals of object oriented programming are not strong, then no matter how good your apex is, then that will not matter. Most of the time when I ask the fundamentals of object oriented programming, people fail to answer that, and that is very bad for a candidate, because you don't know something which is very fundamental. Similarly, trigger is a topic which interviewer will not take as a no. If you say no, your trigger is not good, then what you're doing as a Salesforce developer. So these are must to know topic, and must to know topics are the topics of for which interviewer will have to take yes from you. You have to know this such topic. What could be not so we can say must to know topic? Additional topics, like let's say community cloud. If they are working on sales cloud, and if you don't know community cloud, they will take it. Okay, that is fine, you can learn it anytime, because it is something which you can learn in between. You did not get to work on community cloud, that's why you don't know community cloud, it is okay. Or let's say FSL, you don't know FSL, it is okay, you never got an opportunity to learn FSL because it was not implemented in any of your project. That is fine. But if you say you do not know batch epics, then interview will not take no for such topic, because it is bread and butter for every Salesforce developer. So you should know that. Okay. So understand the difference between must to know topic versus not so must to know topic, or you can say normal topics, and make sure that any of the topic which are must to know topic, you should know that. If you don't know, spend some time on such topics and prepare well, then go for interview. Because interviewer will not say that, okay, that's good that you know community cloud, but if you don't know trigger, then your community cloud knowledge will not be sufficient for you to crack the interview. Okay. All right. I am talking a lot, I know, but let me just finish this one, and then we will stop for a minute and we'll take your questions. Okay. Okay, understand the gravity of each topic. This is in line with what I was saying between must to know topic versus not so must to know topic. Because if you are not able to answer something in record sharing and security, that will have a lot of negative impact if you compare it with something which you are not able to answer in community cloud. Because that will, let's say if you're not able to say answer something on record sharing and security, that will have -5 marks. Versus if you're not able to answer something on community cloud, and that is not must to know topic based on the job description, then that will maybe just -1 point. Okay, so you will have to understand the gravity of each topic, and especially from that company's point of view, how important that thing is for them. You can check it from the job description as well. Okay, so make sure that the topics which are of very high gravity, you are able to answer that, or at least you are able to eliminate as much negative marking there as much as you can. Okay, so understanding the gravity of each topic is really important. Okay, then comes the X factor topic. Okay, X factor topics are the topic which gives you an extra edge over other candidate. These are the topic which not many developers know or not many in the market know. But if you know, because they are not must to know topic, they are the additional topic which, if you know, will give you huge advantage over other candidate. One example could be platform events and change data capture. Not many know platform events and change data capture, because even if you don't know that and you are working as a Salesforce developer, you are able to do your day-to-day job with a lot of workarounds. But if you know platform events and change data capture, that will improve your solutioning, that will improve your thinking exponentially in terms of how you think about a solution. So this is a topic which, even if you don't know, that is okay. Nobody will force you to learn it. But if you know, then if let's say there are 10 people in the interview, you only know this, then it will give you an extra edge over other candidates, even if you were not able to answer a few topics. But if you know this will give you an extra advantage. It's like Hardik Pandya. You can ball and bat both. So if you're not able to make an impact with bat, you still have your bowling by which you can make impact. Okay. But again, these do not take precedence over must to know topic. Must to know topics are the topic which you should definitely know. There is no questioning on that. Then X factor topics comes later. If you have time, you can prepare for X factor topics, go for it. But if you do not have, do not learn it on the expense of your must to know topic. Your focus should be to make sure that all the must to know topics have been covered first. Other examples for X factor topics could be solid design pattern, trigger framework, design framework, flow architecture. These kind of topics are X factor topics. Field service lightning, or you can say generative AI. Any of these topics which are good from the future point of view or can show your future vision, that will help you a lot. Okay, just one more slide for before we take a break for 5 minutes and take your question. Okay. I want every one of you, and I have done this with many of my students as well. You have to do the 3D exercise for your skill set. 3D exercise means you have to note down the topics you are good at, topics you are bad at, and topics you are average at. Okay. Now, topics you are good at and topics you are bad at, you have to determine. If there is any topic in which you are bad at and that topic comes in the must to know topic, then you will have to work on that topic and you will have to move that topic to either in your average topic or in your good to know topic. But if there is any must to know topic which you are bad at, let's say you are bad at batch epics, let's say you are bad at let's say admin, let's say you are bad at custom settings and custom metadata, these are must to know topic. You have to work on it. You will have to either move it to your good to know topic or at least in the average zone, but they cannot be in your not so good at topic. Not so good at topic. I mean, ideally there should not be any topic which you are bad at, but then Salesforce is a huge ocean. So if I have to determine my bad topic or topic I am bad at, I'll say marketing cloud. I am very bad at marketing cloud. I am very average in community cloud. Okay, I am okay in integration. Okay, but my good to know topic will be flows, triggers, LWC, batches, all the admins, all the topics which I have in my good to know topics are very important topics. So make sure that any of your bad topics are not falling in the must to know category. If that is the case, you will have to work on it and move it to the first or second category. Okay, and this exercise has to be done by everybody. Write down, not for anybody else, just for you, what you feel. This will be a discussion between yourself, you and yourself, that what are the topics you feel that you are good at. Again, what are the topics you feel you are bad at, and then topics which you are okay with. Write it down and then check if those topics are falling in which category. Okay, do it very sincerely, because it is very important. Okay. In an interview, what happens is that whenever an interviewer asks to write something, people start panicking and start writing instantly. Okay, that's not how real solution work. When in an organization we get to write something, how do we do that? We think about the solutioning, we think about the problem, we spend some time with problem. Okay, and then write solution. So it is okay to take 2 minutes, 3 minutes to think about problem. Okay, understanding the problem is the first step to solve the problem. So unless you understand the problem, you will not be able to solve it. So make sure that if you need to spend some time with the problem, take it. Do not rush through this solution, because if you will not spend sufficient time in understanding the problem, trust me, your solution will never reach to the actual solution. Okay, so take your time to understand the problem and then start the solution. If you want to take now a minute or two from the interviewer, it is okay. Every time a candidate asks me, sir, can I take 2 3 minutes to think about the problem, I'll not go anywhere, I'll be on screen, but I'll not be speaking, I'll just be thinking. I feel happy about such candidate, that candidate is actually doing it right. Candidate is actually asking time to understand the problem. It is very important. The moment I say question, the moment somebody asks a question, and if I instantly start writing, that means the question was either too easy, and that is the whole reason why the same kind of trigger scenarios have been given from last 10 years. That roll up summary trigger, I don't know how many times, even I have seen people are getting that question. That is why, because they have to ask question to check if you are comfortable in writing or not. Plus they do not want to um, take a lot of time in that, so they want you to quickly write that trigger. So that is why they're giving a scenario which is easy for you, which you have already practiced, and which you will be able to write. But in a good company, in a good if you go for a good organization, you will get a new trigger scenario, and you will need some time to understand that problem. So it is okay. I just want to tell you that it is okay to ask for some time to think about the problem. No interviewer will take it in the negative manner. Okay. Now when it comes to writing a problem, most of the time we feel that um okay, I understood the problem, now I'll have to start it and then finish it in a single attempt. What interviewer prefer is, when you start writing something, what is in your mind, you convey that approach to the interviewer. The moment you convey that approach, and if there is a flaw in your approach, then interviewer will definitely try to help you there, or will say you, okay, why do you want to do it with the map? Why can't we do the aggregate query, or why can't we go that way? He is not asking cross question, he is giving you a hint that if you do it with the aggregate query, your solution will be better, you will be able to achieve something easily than you go with the map. This has happened with me multiple times, and I was stubborn to start initially, and then do not ask cross question, or do not say why I'm doing it. But it is better to convey, okay, I'm creating a map to store the list, store the ID on the key set and list of contact in the value set, so that I can later on use it. Now interviewer will see and will try to understand your approach. Interviewer like the candidates who keep on conveying their approach. It's like confirming whether you are going in the right direction or not. Okay, it's not asking for help, it is just conveying. And if he want to, he will give you a hint. If he does not, he will not give you a hint. That is up to him, but at least you as a candidate did the right thing by conveying your approach. And if he is giving a suggestion, do not just reject it. Think about it. Okay, if he's saying that let's use aggregate query, or why don't you use aggregate query to do this, if you are against that opinion, then you can say that, okay, sir, what I feel is that if I use aggregate query, then I'll have to create this variable, or we might use it later on, but I feel it will be better or easier to do it with the map. So convey that why you feel that. It Treat it as a discussion with your mentor. If you treat interview as somebody is trying to judge you technically, then you will have a burden to prove a point that you are good technically. But if you treat the interview as a technical discussion with your mentor or with your senior, then that burden will not be there. You will have an open discussion with him, why he feels that way, why you feel that way, and what should be the way, or you may get to learn something in him. Okay, be very open for the suggestions. Okay, now this is a good case scenario if you get a good interviewer. But the problem with today's era is that there are not so many good interviewers. There are interviewers who are very arrogant. There are interviewers who has an attitude that they know everything. Or sometimes in the worst case scenario, you get an interviewer who feel that who just try to show his supremacy over you. They'll just try to prove a point that you don't know anything, they know everything. So you will get a lot of such interviewers as well. Treat them as a casualty in the learning. It happens with everybody. You will get a lot of bad interviewers, and you need not to dishearten because of that, because just like giving interview is an art, taking interview is also an art. Very few know this. Trust me, more than the candidate, even the interviewers are not good. This should also be taught in the companies, that how to take the interview, because there are so pathetic interviewers I have seen in my career, and I now laugh at them. Like how they said that thing, why they were saying it like that. So there will be a lot of bad interviewers as well. They are part and parcel of your journey. Learn from it, but do not take it on your heart. Okay. All right. Kind of mid of the session, let me take few questions. And if anybody has any open question, law, feel free to shoot those. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Mohit. So there are few questions for you. So Avdesh has asked, like, so what are the must to know topics for
Okay.
a doubt?
Yes. Very good. What This is a very good question. Must to know topics are the topics which are so fundamental that they teach you, let's say, in the beginning. So if I talk about admin topics, record sharing and security is a must to know topic. Okay, because that is the fundamental of everything, how record is shared or how security works in Salesforce. So if you don't know how security works at Salesforce, no matter what solution you build, that fundamental will never be strong. Similarly, in Apex, when it comes to Apex, fundamentals of Apex or fundamentals of object-oriented programming is very, very important must to know topic. Most of us make this mistake. Many of us are admin turned developers. So when we transition from admin to development, we directly start writing trigger. After reading it for one or two times, okay, what is global, what is protected, what is public, we start writing triggers. So we never get to know that those fundamentals of Apex, like why we use inheritance, or what is the use of a static keyword, why we should make a particular method as a static method. We never think about it. Trust me, you'll not believe. I was taking an interview of a 12-year experienced developer, and I asked her, when you create a method, how do you decide if that method should be static or not? And she was blank. She said that she never thought about it. So it happens, and it is so common. Like 95% of people don't even think about making a particular method as a static, because 99% of Apex method are static. So they assume that every method will be static. They never think about it. Similarly, trigger, again, trigger is not only the must to know topic, but so fundamental with Apex. Like all the process automation most of the time happens with trigger. Now that we have flow as well, so it is very common that flow as well as trigger, and do a comparative analysis between flow and trigger, which will be better in what scenario, or which will be better in other scenario, when to use trigger versus flow, versus when to use flow versus trigger, what about the combined approach of flow and trigger. So those kind of questions are very common here. In the asynchronous Apex also, it is very common that you know the fundamentals, why we cannot call another future method from future method, or why it is not a good idea to call a batch class from a trigger. So those kind of fundamentals are very important to know. In the integration also, the basics of REST remain same, no matter if you are doing it with the middleware or you are doing it with the point-to-point integration. So fundamentally knowing them very well. What I say is that if you are new and preparing for it, trigger, patches, and asynchronous Apex, complete asynchronous Apex, and flows, record sharing and security, practical uses of custom settings and custom metadata. Some part of user management is also very important. Fundamentals of Sales Cloud, how different objects are connected with each other, and lead conversion mechanism is very important. Similarly, in the Service Cloud, email to case and how omni-channel works is very important. So these are kind of few of the fundamentals I prefer to know before giving any interview. Good
Okay.
question, Avdesh.
Yes. So, and Mauli has asked one question. Can we ask for feedback from the interviewer at the end of the interview?
Okay, this is a very good question, and I am covering it in one of the slide as well later on, how to close the interview or how to effectively end your interview. It is not a very good idea to directly ask the feedback from the interviewer because it sounds too desperate, to be very frank, and they are not allowed to. The simple reason is that they are not allowed to give the feedback straight away. There is a mechanism how it should follow. It should follow the chain of communication, and that communication should always come from your HR. But based on the tone of interviewer and how it is ending the your interview, you kind of get to know if it was a good or bad. Sometimes it is 50-50. Even for that we have some hacks to do, but it is not a good idea to ask for feedback because there are two reasons I've mentioned. It sounds bit desperate, plus even if they want to, they'll not. Most of the time people do, they'll try to find the candidate on LinkedIn and then they ask, sir, what is my feedback? See, that is not a professional way to do it. Don't do that because that does not sound good, and that should come from HR. Now I know there are so many HRs who do not give feedback at all. Even if you are getting selected, and that takes a lot of time for them to come back to you, and if you're rejected, they'll not be bothered to give you. But then also you should not ping candidate or ping interviewer on LinkedIn to ask for the feedback. You should take it, and I'll talk about this soon. Okay, but please do not ask it. Okay.
Okay, right. So thank
There
you,
are
Mohit.
other things you can ask. There are other things you can ask in the closing remarks, but not the direct feedback. Like if you feel that it was a 50-50, like few things you were able to answer versus few things you were not able to answer, then you can take it positively and you can show your eagerness. You can show your positivity towards the role and how thoroughly you enjoyed the communication, how thoroughly it was a learning experience for you, and make sure you communicate your willingness for this role and positivity around it. Okay, so you can sugarcoat it in a wrapper and tell him that you are interested in this role. Okay, but do not ask for feedback.
Okay, right. So we have one more question from Sakshi. She was saying, like, in my last interview, I was explaining trigger in between, but the interviewer told me to just write the code and he asked me to stop explaining. So
It
what
happens.
was, yeah, yes.
Yeah, it happens with so many. See, interviewer can interrupt you anytime because he has n number of reason why he can interrupt you. He has to judge you on many topics, many areas in any particular interview. Let's say you wrote a trigger, okay, and you are a bit too explanatory. He is not expecting you to take 20 minutes on trigger, so he can ask you to just keep it brief and just write down the logic of it, because there are other things also he need to judge. Okay, so don't feel negative about why he interrupted you, why he is not allowing you to explain it, because he might not have enough time for that explanation. And that is also okay because Salesforce is huge, and for depending on role they need to check you on so many other topics as well. So if interviewer is interrupting you, that is not a negative thing, to be very frank. It is a kind of you can take it positively, that because he want to move on to maybe next topic, or want to spend less time on this topic. Okay, I used to make this mistake a lot, that because in the introduction, I got the benefit of explaining everything in the beginning, and I used to say almost everything in the introduction, whatever I have worked on. So I keep on saying for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Sometimes my introduction was taking 10 minutes. Okay, advantage I was getting is that they were asking questions from the topic I was good at, but the negativity around that, I was taking too much time in my introduction, that they were getting irritated. They do not have infinite time for your interview. Like most of the time they'll have 30 to 45 minutes, or if they are giving something to write, then most of the time it will have not more than 1 hour. Okay, so keep it very brief, and don't take it negatively if they are interrupting you in between. There could be many positive reasons as well why they are interrupting you. Okay, Sakshi, so it happens with most of us, and it is okay that they're not asking you to, or not giving you time to explain. Scenario could be simple. They do not need much explanation, or they just want you to write in silos. If you get that hint, just write it down. Okay.
Right. So I want to add some time, like, so a few more points to what Mohit has said. So as Mohit said earlier, right? So taking an interview is also an art. right? So we don't have a very good number of people, right, who are good at that particular art. Sometimes people, right, so who just got into taking interviews, they want to prove themselves, right? So in that point in time, what they'll do is just they'll simply try to prove themselves, rather than, right, trying to understand what do you know, uh, in terms of, right, what is needed for the role. Okay, so these kind of experiences happen. So we don't need to get disheartened because of that particular interview. So you have to move on and see where it went wrong, and right, so analyze that particular thing and try to be good at the next interview, right? Good. So, so there is one more question from Sakshi. She was saying, like, so within my current project, I have almost worked on, I mean, so I mostly worked on admin and low code development, and rest I've learned from YouTube and other sources. So how can I prepare my intro, and how can I
Okay.
position myself that, I am good at development?
Yes, very good question, Sakshi. And this happens with many people that in their real project they are not getting much to write. When I started my journey, I was in Paytm, and they gave all those work to vendors, like all the coding work, and we were working as an admin, or we can say we were freshers who started learning Salesforce. So they had an opinion that if we risk our code to the new people, that might break or they might do something wrong. So they were not giving a lot of work. In scenarios like this, your dev org is your best friend. Try to learn things from there and try to implement. I used to see things on my project implemented, and then obviously not copying, but I kind of used to similarly implement those things in my dev org, just to increase my knowledge, just to see whatever written I have written is good enough or not. And now that I'm talking about 2015, 16. So now that you have AI and everything in as your friend, treat them as your friend and try to make yourself better. In interview, depending on how many years of experience you have, sometimes it is okay to say that what your project was offering versus what you learned on your own, and how comfortable you are to do all those things in your own. Okay, see, if you say that okay, you are working on LWC a lot on your day-to-day life, but in reality if you are not doing it, sooner or later one or the other interviewer will pick that thing. Okay, so better is that you go with the correct approach, say that you have implemented this on your own because your project is not offering that. But if your experience is more, then it is expected that you should know those things. Then you'll have to frame it in a way that you do almost everything in your own dev org as well, and try to present it as the way that you are also doing it in a project, although that is not ethically right, but then you have to cover up for your number of years of experience as well. So my answer will differ for depending on number of experience you have. If you have less than 3 years of experience, I'll say go with the true story. Tell them that your project is not offering you enough. If your experience is more than 4 year or something like that, then you will have to take the burden of implementing those things on your own in your dev org with your own understanding, along with taking help from others, and then present it in a way that you have done it in your project, or kind of do a POC on your own dev org and display it in such manner. Okay, bit controversial, but that is what I want to say.
Right. Good. So we have one more question from Arnav. So he's asking, if we don't know any answer to the question that was asked in the interview, how can we deal with that?
Yeah, this happens almost every interview. See, you are not expected to know everything. So typical scenario, typical answer scenario is that if you get 10 questions in an interview, even if you are able to answer 6 or 7 questions well, that is a very good ratio. Trust me, that is a very good ratio, even if you're able to answer six well. But what you need to make sure is that every of your correct answer should have a right impact. Okay, whatever you don't know, you can politely say that sorry sir, but I'm not able to recall it right now, or I did not get to work on it, or I'm not aware about this topic. So let's say if somebody asks me platform event, and if I have not worked on it, I will not go and try to answer it, because that will be like digging up my own grave. Okay, so I'll politely say that I did not get to work on it, but I will try to learn it. This is an important topic. But again, we need not to lie here that I know this, but I'm not able to answer it. If you know this, then you should be able to answer it. Okay. But if you don't know this, then it is okay to say that you don't know this. Don't worry about. Salesforce is huge and nobody is expecting you to know everything. But again, as I said, your answer should be impactful. So if I'm asking role versus what is the difference between role and profile, okay, your answer should be impactful, that I should be impressed with your answer. If I ask role versus profile from a 1 year experienced person, his answer will be different. You as an experienced candidate, if I ask this question, your answer should be impressive, because I am not expecting the correct answer. That is the minimum requirement here, that you should be answering correct. But as you have 4 years of experience, I am expecting that your answer should be impressive. So try to create maximum impact through your answers as well, especially the people who have experience in the ecosystem. New people, it's okay, take it easy. Even obviously you can impress with the with your answer, but for experienced people, there is no choice. You'll have to impress, or I'll not say impress. You'll have to impactfully answer it, which will create impact. Okay.
Okay, right. So, Ravi, you can go
Yes,
ahead with
Ravi.
your question, Ravi.
Hi, Ravi.
Thanks, Ishwar. Thanks, Mohit, for your time on Saturday. Um, when I was a DVA before becoming a Salesforce developer, I used to take interviews and as Ishwar was saying, like there are not many talented interview takers. I did the same job of asking the hardest question to the people coming in the interview, and now the karma is catching up with me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get rid of that, but yeah, I'm having not so good luck with giving interviews. But yeah, that jokes apart, I have made a column, a three column table with good, average, and bad topics in Salesforce. Um, uh, so basically, my problem is that when I started working in Salesforce, LWC was already being preferred for EY.
Yes.
So now I do not have any answer when they say, "Do you know VFP? Do you know Aura?" Because I haven't seen classic interface being used by anyone.
Hmm.
So what do you think should my answer should be? Because I know LWC good enough, I will be able to pick that up over
Mhm.
time. Is that is that
Yes.
what you
See,
suggest?
ideally, what happens is when they ask VF pages, then very few organizations still are using VF pages, and those are legacy organizations, because they are using VF pages because they cannot, or they do not want to move to LWC. Very few interviewers ask this. So let's say if I'm taking an interview and in my project VF page is implemented, then I'll prefer to hire somebody who is comfortable with the VF pages, because I know that they might get to work on VF pages. Okay. There are, if you do not know, that is completely okay. There are people who have started after 2019 and they don't know VF pages, or they just know very basics of Aura component as well. So it is okay to say that you only know LWC. But in terms of VF pages, just show the confidence that if situation comes in where you get to work on VF pages, you will not take a lot of time to learn it from scratch, and you have confidence that, because see, if you know LWC, VF pages are already easy for you. It will not take much time, but that confidence should come from you to interviewer. It should flow from you to interviewer, that even if that situation comes in, you will be able to learn it very quickly. Okay, they do not want anybody who is expert in VF pages, because there are not so many in current market context, because mostly they are working on LWC. So say that you have a confidence that you will be able to work on it if given the situation or given the project. But as of now, you have started with LWC, you have a good command over LWC, and you see no problem in learning VF pages if given this situation. Okay. Many
Uh,
of us say that they know VF pages, considering that they have gone through the 10 FAQs on VF pages. But if interviewer is specifically asking VF pages, he might have a real-time scenario in VF pages, and I'll not recommend saying VF pages just by going through those 10 questions. So either you know
hmm.
it or don't know it, but don't go in between. Or instead you say that you'll be able to learn how I tackle it, because I have created my last VF page around 2016. So if I get something in the VF pages, there are a couple of common questions which I already know. But if something comes in which is a situational question, then I'll say that okay, I'll not. I am confident that I'll be able to do it in a project given the time and given the opportunity. But right now I can do it with the LWC. If you want my approach, see, if you're interested in learning my approach or getting to know my approach, then approach will be same for VF. It's just that syntax will change, and that can be learned very easily. Okay, so be confident there. Okay, because if you
Yeah.
will, he will never do it.
Yeah, the only thing is because it's two features like Aura and VFP, which I have never seen implemented because everyone wants LWCs to be implemented. So that's the downside which I'm facing. And same for if the interviewer is having expectation, the person should be knowing a good deal about process builders, whereas they are not being used. So people won't get chance. So it is happening on the declarative side as well and programmatic side as well. Now, I just have last question before I give chance to others. Um, if we know third party apps, because we have worked in Salesforce world, we have seen rare apps which will basically make the life of admins and developers really easy. It will give us our time back. So I think that would be a good X factor, because if I say to my interviewer that I know DocuSign, I know Conga, they will be happy that, oh, you can basically send the document to the client for signature electronically, and you don't have to
Yeah,
take printout and everything.
100%. See, if you know anything additional, DocuSign, NetSuite, Ironclad, any additional tool, even within Salesforce, if you have good hands in Postman, Workbench, you are expected to know all these things. That is an additional advantage. How I used to, when I was in IBM, I used to take a lot of interviews, and we had a special section for these kind of things, like any additional things, So if anybody knows Health Cloud, if anybody knows non-profit cloud, so if you're telling me Health Cloud, I don't know anything about Health Cloud, I'll not be asking any cross questions on that. I will directly mention that candidate knows Health Cloud. So these are the additional thing which gives you advantage as well. So these are good thing: DocuSign, Ironclad, NetSuite, MuleSoft, and when it comes to deployment, we have GitHub, we have AutoRabbit, we have Copado, Flossom. These are additional thing. If I know CI/CD tools, and if I know how to set up CI/CD with Jenkins and all, that is a huge advantage, because then they'll see that okay, we do not even need a DevOps team. This candidate can handle a DevOps cycle as well. So you will become a rock star there. They'll mark you as a star candidate. Okay, so we
Thank
have
you.
to
Thank you.
take of these things.
Thank you both.
Yep.
Bye.
Yes. So, and I just want to add one more thing to what Mohit has said, Ravi. See, DocuSign, Conga, all of them are like, so external products that, any business can use for their internal requirements, right? So whereas, Postman or maybe Salesforce Inspector are the tools that generally helps our administrators and developers for their better productivity and, so efficiency. See, if you know these tools, right, like, so the productivity tools, then definitely it's an added advantage. But whereas, the tools like, so Conga or maybe DocuSign or some other, so external applications, so that might not be relevant for the interviewer who is, so taking that particular interview, right? So the company that is taking that particular interview. So if definitely they need that sort of, so product knowledge or something like that, it will definitely add a lot of value for you. But at the end, right, so that might not be relevant sometimes. Okay.
Yep.
But still, so if you know something extra, that will definitely give some extra advantage compared to other people who are giving that interview. But that might not be a deciding factor when compared to other candidates who have applied for the same role. Okay.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you
Right.
for
But
clarifying.
Good.
these kind of situation comes in when, let's say, we have two candidates who are both technically really good. Then in that case, they need to determine who is better than the other one. They both are technically good, then they will go with, okay, what other one is bringing on table than the first one, and then these additional things weigh in for you and then give you an extra advantage over other candidates. Again, obviously the technical factors are the first thing, or you can say the major things which will determine. But in market like this, where there are there are so much supply and demand is less. The candidates are getting competitive every day, and now I see that people who are coming as a fresher for internship interview. One of my student gave internship interview, and she got 5 trigger scenarios to write in an hour interview. 5 trigger scenario, and earlier that was the case with 3 years of experience, and that too not 5 trigger scenario, just one trigger scenario. So competition is increasing day by day, and those who will pick the pace will survive here. So that is why people like me comes in picture to tell you that where we have to be or what we should prepare. I mean, we just try to, but again, thank you, Ishwar, for giving me this opportunity. Let's finish what we started with a couple of more slides remaining, and we have around 15 minutes, and I want to take more questions. So the next one is our techno managerial round. This was this was not the original round which they used to take earlier, because it was technical and then managerial. But then there was a gap between what technical person was judging versus what a manager was judging. And a Salesforce project, or you can say a technical project, not only requires technical skills but also a lot of other skills as well. And there is an overlap between technical and managerial things. Hence comes the techno managerial round. Most of the time in good organization, it will be more of technical, less of the managerial round, because they have managerial round for such things. And it if you are giving interview for company like KPMG or Deloitte, it could go up to 70% technical, 30% managerial, or sometimes even 75% technical. But that technical questions are a bit different from what you got in the technical round. First thing you need to remember is that they will have your feedback from your technical round. So whatever you were not able to answer in your first round, or whatever you feel that you were not good, they will have that thing in written, that candidate was not good in, let's say, deployment, not good in, let's say, admin. So you have a chance to actually work on those things and improve those things, because that could be the thing they might be asking. But otherwise, overall, they ask bit high level technical questions like, what are the solid principles, or how will you design a particular app, what will be your approach to resolve the CPU timeout. They will not go very much technically in detail on or in depth in every topic, but their question will still be pretty much technical, but they'll be focusing on high level. So they might ask, how you will you resolve the CPU timeout issue. In that case, you are expected to provide a approach for it. Okay, here it is more about the approach and what you feel about the problem, or what is your vision to solve a problem. There could be questions related to deployment, how you are currently doing the deployments, what deployment tools do you know, what is the deployment pipeline, how you are sending your changes to, let's say, higher environment, how testers are doing it, how it is getting to, tested by the business, how it is going to production, how do you manage the production arc, how you will refresh your sandboxes, different types of technical questions related to your project. Okay, let's say you've got a banking project. How do you manage your banking project? How many days of cycle you are doing in your agile? Is it a 4 week cycle? Is it a 2 week cycle? How do you do the release management? How you do the story pointing in your user stories? How do you define the start date and end date of it? How you are managing the technical design document of it? How your testing works, how your testers give you problems to solve, how your testers report bugs, which tool do you use for user story estimation, which tool do you use for collaboration. There could be a lot of project related questions. So very important point here is project, because a lot of questions will be from project. Okay, so make sure those who are new can think about, obviously there'll not be any project, but then how deployment works, how testing works, what is agile, what is waterfall, and what is sprint. You should at least know all those things. It is going to be a bit easier round for freshers, bit difficult for experienced people. If you focus too much on technical, that is not going to work here, because this is the combination of technical and managerial. So your answer should also vary based on what he is asking. Okay, and most of the time this will be taken by program manager, product manager, or technical architect of that project. So they are very well technical person. Do not try to fool them. See, there is a common opinion that technical round person will be technical, managerial round person will be managerial, he'll not know anything technical. But that happened because most of the time in our service based organization, many of the managers were cross trained. They were coming from Siebel, they were coming from other technologies, so they were not asking a lot of technical questions. So that is the general perception came out in the market, that they are not technical person, they are asking simple question. And on top of that, they started asking technical questions like what is decorator, or what is simple questions. So candidate get to know that the person is not too technical. But that is not the case now. The architects are taking interview, they are pretty much technical. You will go down in the design patterns, they will dig there. Okay, so be very careful when you answer those questions. This is a very crucial round, because if you get a very good feedback here, this helps you in the salary negotiation as well. I'm very confident going to HR when my techno managerial round was bang on. I know that he has given good feedback. I know that it was very good. He was very impressed. I can point that thing in the HR discussion, that you can check my feedbacks. Okay, what I am bringing on table. So it gives me power to negotiate as well in the technical, in the salary negotiation, if I know that my techno managerial round feedback was good. Okay, so this is very important that you do good in this round. Okay.
Right.
And yes, this I think I have already talked about making the last impression. So this is very important, because most of the time, even though even though interviewer keep on taking notes throughout the interview, but they will write down the final feedback at the end. Okay. Before ending the interview, they will definitely give you a time to ask if you have any follow-up question, or if you have any question for them. And 99% of people say that, no, I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity. Most of the time people say that. And that does not give any negativity, to be frank. That is a normal ending that happens with most of the time. Okay. But if you know that your interview was really good, that is fine. You can say that, okay, you do not have any question, you are good. If you know that your interview was really bad and you are not going to get selected, then also it is okay to say that, no, you do not have any question, you are done with it. But if you feel that your interview was 50-50, you were able to answer something, you were not able to answer something, though in that case, it is very important to make a good last impression, because just to get some brownie point, to be very frank, and make the last impression as a good impression, so that even if there was some negative factors in the interviewer's mind about you, he may negate it with the last impression. I use it a lot, especially in the interview where it was 50-50. And most of the time I try to ask the generic questions, not the feedback. Of course, never ask the feedback in the end, because that is, he will not give you. He will say that, okay, HR will come back to you, and thank you, it was nice talking to you. So what you can ask is normal questions like how they are using Salesforce, or let's say if it is a service based organization, how the resource allocation works there, how the project allotment happens there, what kind of projects we have in our pipeline, what will be expected from somebody like me, who has 3 years of experience and wants to contribute a lot in the organization, as well as want to learn new thing in the Salesforce ecosystem. So something logical, something so show that you're eager for this project, eager to learn in Salesforce, eager to participate in the journey of the successful journey of the company. Something really positive, plus sweet and precise. Okay, don't ask about the salaries, and don't ask about the ratings. Don't ask about the notice period. Okay, these are kind of red flags if you are asking about the notice period and all. I mean, it's not like you cannot ask, you can ask anything, but if you are trying to make a last impression, make it positively, not negatively. Okay. Uh, this is something which I recommend everybody to revise on your interview day. My what I feel is that on the interview day, you should be relaxed, and you should just try to give some positivity to yourself. But there are few things which we tend to forget. I most of the time forget couple of governor limits. I most of the time forget something in the it's not like if somebody asks me best practices of test classes, I'll not be able to tell. But if I revise those things, I might be able to tell more. So if without revising, I'm able to tell just 5 best practices, if I revise it, I will be able to tell 8. So it is human nature to forget something, and it is okay. But I want you guys to revise governor limits, order of execution, best practices of test classes, triggers, and apex classes, and LWC life cycle logs. These are the 4 things I recommend all of my students to revise before your interview. Or you can say, let's say your interview is at 9 a.m., revise it at 7:30, 7 a.m. Okay. This has
Mohit bhai, sorry. Mohit bhai, sorry to come back
yeah,
again, but
go.
I
Yeah, so
couldn't stop myself ask.
Yeah, so Ravi, just 1 minute, right? There are few more questions from other students. Once we
Sure,
are done with
no
those
problem. Thank
questions,
you.
you can continue. Okay, right. So good. Yeah, Mohit, please,
Yes.
so
I'll just
go
try to
ahead with the
finish.
final slide, and then we
Yep.
can continue the questions.
Okay. There can be multiple reasons of rejection. As a candidate, we most of the time feel that we got rejected because we were not technically good. Okay. And technical knowledge is one of the major reason, but there can be other factors as well. So do not punish yourself all the time that you were not good enough, you cannot do anything, this is not for you, those kind of things. There can be other reasons as well. Sometimes you are technically good, but there are other candidates who are better than you, which is okay. Sometimes your number of experience is not matching with the salary expectation, and they are getting similar candidate with same number of years of experience in less salary. So there can be multiple factors as well. I don't want you to take everything on your heart and don't always punish yourself for that interview. Oh shit, I was on mute. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No. So just for a second, Mohit. Yeah, please go.
Okay. So what I want to say is that there can be multiple reasons of rejection. Don't take it on your heart and don't always punish yourself for that. Okay. But this is very important step, that after giving an interview, it is very important that you do a post-mortem of an interview. What you were able to answer well, what you were not able to answer well, what went right, what went wrong, what you could have done better, and then focus on what are the things which you were not able to answer and work on those things. What I want you is that never fail because of the same reason. So let's say in this interview, I was not able to tell change data capture. That is fine. I was not able to tell, but I have to promise myself that I will never fail again because of change data capture in any of my interview in future. That is the kind of promise I want from everybody. Never fail because of the same reason again and again, because if you fell in that trap, then it will keep on happening again and again. Okay. See, interview preparation is a very energy consuming journey, and you will face a lot of disappointment. You will fail a lot of time. Even if I give interview today, out of 10 I will fail in 5 interview. That is very normal, very common, and happens with everybody. So I want you to feel that this disappointment is okay. It is okay to feel sad about it, but once you are done and once you are over with that sadness, do a retrospective about that interview and learn from it. If you learn from it, trust me, after some time you will see that questions are getting repeated again and again. Okay, couple of things I don't want you to do in an interview, and couple of things are really bad practices. Couple of things are malpractices as well. But do not lie in the interview, especially in the technical topics. If you don't know something, say that you don't know, and you will try to learn it. But do not try to dig your own grave by saying irrelevant answer, because that is better than saying it, yeah, that you don't know. Okay, if you have learned something via trailer, do not consider that you know this. You just say that you know the basics of it, because that is the truth. That is the reality, that you know basics of it. Trailhead is just to teach you the basics. Okay. Many candidates don't even know their resume, what they have written in it. Do not be that candidate. Go through your resume thoroughly. Whatever is written there, you should know that. If there is something which is written there, but you don't know, let's say metadata API, if you don't know metadata API, and if that is written in your resume, remove it right now, because that is negative. Always turn on your camera, because if it is an unavoidable circumstances, convey that you will not be able to, but otherwise turn it on. It is very important. Introduction, you have to practice a lot. Even if you are an experienced candidate, I want you to practice your introduction, because it is very important. It is the opening door of your interview. Go through JD, go through your skill set, and try to draw a common ground between the JD and your skill set. Okay. Again, two malpractices: do not put fake experience. Okay, if you have fake experience and want to say how I can do it better and all, you can try to talk to any mentor, but fake experience is not good. Even if you clear the interview, it will be bad for you. And uh, this is a scam running in the market: proxy interview support. Do not fall in trap of that. I think that should be all from my side. Trait of good candidate, you already know. And I will give you this slide. You can go through that. So now we can take the questions. I think I took more than
No, no,
allotted time.
that's fine, Mohit. Thank you very much. You have given a wonderful session. So I believe this is something that will help everyone who have joined this particular session. And there are few topics, right, that have made me think of revisiting of lot of things, right? So even though I am experienced, and even though so I've been given a lot of interviews till now, right? This is really a great helpful session. Thank you very much. There are few more questions before we end this session. So let me ask you them. Okay. So Malik, he was asking, like, what is the suggestion you could give to candidates who are applying for jobs outside India, like in US or UK, since the interviewer's approach or the mindset varies from country to country? You're on mute, Mohit. Yes.
Okay. Yes, outside of India, market is even worse. To be very frank, I have many students from outside India, US, Canada, UK, and they are um, they were very depressed about the current market situation. And it is very common there to put some fake experience as well, because they say that if you do not put fake experience there, you will not even get the interview calls. But what I have seen is that the interview levels are not that difficult there. They ask normal question. They just want the genuine candidate. Their biggest struggle, and if I talk to any recruiting partner there, their biggest struggle is to find the genuine candidate, because they say that market is filled with the candidates who have inflated their resume. So I will say that get in touch with a good recruitment company, and keep an eye on the openings of the organizations. I have seen many of my students have got job there, but the situation is a bit difficult there. So I'll not comment on the fake or inflating resume there, because I do not have any idea about it. But most of the people do that, which I do not like. Maybe because of there is no option. Yes. Uh,
Right. Good. So there is one more question from Ramya. Okay. So most of the session that you have given might be relevant for experienced people. So what is the one thing that you want to say to freshers?
Okay, why not we plan a session for just for freshers and allow every fresher to join, because freshers are the people who need most help. Like they are the people who are, for experience, there are so many resources, so many places to go and learn, and they know that tricks and tips. But for freshers, it's like a wild jungle. So I'll plan a session just for freshers, but for now, try to implement those things in your dev work. Try to build as many POCs as you can, because see, ultimately it will be your practical knowledge which will gain you a position in any organization. It is very important that you stay connected with various people on LinkedIn. Make a good circle there, because most of the openings you will get there. Be connected to Ishwar and maybe to me as well. I'll try to help you whenever I see any fresher job opening. But let's plan a session just for freshers, because I feel for freshers a lot. And we have to motivate them a lot, because they need most of our support. So what
Yes.
I am going to do, I'm going to put my LinkedIn profile over chat for everybody. You can connect with me, and you can have any discussion with me in case you want to talk about anything. And very soon we will plan a session just for freshers as well.
I just want to add, so one more point to what Mohit has said. So personal branding is very, very much important for freshers. Okay, so please connect with as many people as possible within the Salesforce ecosystem and LinkedIn, and try to post your learnings on daily basis. Okay, so when you post something, right, so that will appear on your connections wall. And if you are repetitively doing the same thing consistently over a period of time, right, so if there are any openings in their company, the first person that will come to their mind is you. Okay, so for that reason, personal branding is very much important. So please focus on that. You'll definitely get a chance. Right. So yeah, so that is one thing I wanted to tell you. And there is one more question from Prasanna. So she is asking, I currently work in SAP domain, SAP domain as a developer with 5 years of experience, and I am interested to work within the Salesforce ecosystem. And I've started learning Salesforce. Any suggestions for me? One second, let me yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, yes, Prashant. So the first suggestion is that try to learn Salesforce in the hard way possible. Like don't go for any shortcut. Do not directly start writing trigger. Spend healthy 15-20 days on admin, and then 10-15 days on fundamentals of Epics. Then only write your first trigger. Learn it well, and do not try to fake your experience. Your SAP domain knowledge should not go in waste. You should not treat yourself as a fresher because you came from other domain, and people value that. So it's not like you will be treated as a fresher in Salesforce. There might be or might not be some salary cut you might need to take depending on the current market situation in Salesforce ecosystem. But again, your experience is invaluable. So do not. What I see is that when people come from other background, they try to jump into the Salesforce with the inflated number of years of experience that I don't want. Whatever you work, even if you have worked as a, let's say, customer support executive there, and you want to move to Salesforce, your experience as a customer support executive is not something which you should not be proud of. Okay, because you chose that option at that time because that was the best option for you that time. Now you are choosing Salesforce because you want to move ahead with a better technology. That's it. That's a logical explanation. In terms of salary, there might be some cut, and it is okay. But I mean, I am not nobody to judge you financially and all, but I'll not suggest or recommend to put a fake experience in Salesforce because many do that. Also, for freshers, just last closing remark. See, what happens is that we do not get interview calls, and that's why we feel discouraged and disheartened, and we stop preparing. And when we get an interview call, we are not prepared for that. So this is a cycle. So just to break this cycle, always keep on preparing for an interview, no matter if you're getting calls or not, because always remember, the moment you get a call, you should be ready for that call. But if you will feel disheartened, you will stop preparing, and then when you get call, you will not be prepared. So please break the cycle, keep on studying, keep on building things. Okay, do not fall in trap of getting so many trailhead badges and so many points. There is no advantage of so many badges if you do not remember those things. So try to create your own notes. Trust me, even for this session, I have created my own notes. You can see what I'm going to speak because it helps me, stay structured. And you will not believe, I have my own notes which I prepared around 2014, and they are still relevant to me even today. Even I share with many of you as well. Those are my own handwritten notes. So try to create your own notes. It helps you revise. When you revise it, it will take less time for you to go through those topics. Okay. I think I've taken much time. Thank you so much, everyone. It was so lovely talking to you. And yes, we will plan something better very soon for freshers and even for experienced people as well. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ishwar, for having me here. It was lovely and I enjoyed. I hope I was able to provide value to all the
No,
participants.
definitely. You've provided a lot of value, Mohit. So thank you very much for accepting my request to come and so arrange. I mean, like, so host this session. So thank you very much. So guys, whoever have registered for this particular webinar, so we will provide you recording of this. So we won't be making this public on any YouTube or any other so public platforms. So and this session will be available within our Excelling Academy LMS platform, right? So and whoever have registered, so they'll receive an invite link to our LMS platform. If you're not a member already in our platform, otherwise you'll have this program available for you. Okay, so
Thank you.
yeah, right. So, and before we leave the call, right, we leave this meeting. So I would recommend everyone to switch on their cameras and so give a thumbs up on a count of 3 so that we can take one picture. Right. One second. I'll go with a count of 3. So let everyone switch on their cameras. Yeah. Guys, please switch on your cameras, so as quick as possible. So we are already, right, so late. So we have almost like 60 people in the session. Yeah. So I would need at least 15 to 20 people switching on their cameras. Yes. Yes. Okay. Right. Sunil, please take a snap, buddy. So I'll in a count of 3, a big thumbs up with a big smile on everyone's face, guys. Right. So 1, 2, 3. Yes. Right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session. So have a lovely day and have a lovely weekend. So hope to see you all again. Bye bye.